Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining for this press briefing. We have two announcements that we want to share and have our distinguished panelists add their comments towards. The first is the release of our World Economic Forum Internet for All framework for accelerating internet access and adoption. This has been a year-long effort with many of the partners involved. In fact, all of the partners on the panel have been providing input into this as a framework for governments and companies and all stakeholders to work together to accelerate closing the gap of 4 billion people not on the internet. And the framework includes a multi-stakeholder ecosystem approach is the primary focus, and that we have to address the issues of infrastructure, affordability, content, and skills and awareness together if we're going to move the agenda. The second announcement that we are very pleased and thrilled to make is that the real work of Internet for All begins by moving into launching country programs in partnership with governments. And in this regard, we are going to be pleased to announce the launch of the Northern Corridor Internet for All program, together with the governments of Rwanda, Kenya, South Sudan, and Uganda, where together with many of the partners from private sector, civil society, and other government bilateral, multilateral partners, we are making a commitment to provide 25 million people across the 4 countries more internet use, get them onto the internet in the next 3 years. So that's an introduction to what we want to cover in this briefing. I will call on each of our panelists to make a brief remark, and then we'll have some time for questions and answers. I wanted to also just announce ahead of time that Vice Minister Wang does have to leave after her statement because of another pressing appointment, so our apologies on that ahead of time. Let me first call on our great friend and host of our World Economic Forum in Africa, Minister Philbert Nsengimana. He's the Minister of Youth and Information Communication Technology of Rwanda.
Thank you, Alex. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to be part of this moment where we are unveiling this report. The ambition of bringing 25 million more people online in the Northern Corridor, a place that is having a population of 120 million. So when you look at the economic impact and the significance of that target, bringing close to 20% more people online will translate into a GDP growth of somewhere between 2 and 2.5%. And this is really an illustration of what ICT can do to really drive economic transformation. This morning you have heard our president recognize Rwanda's participation to the Internet for All platform, where he gave practical examples of what we have done as a country in investing in infrastructure in a way that is affordable, and investing in the skills. It was, he said, all this, it's about people, in tackling the challenges of skills and awareness and affordability and content. All that comes to support an existing momentum that is in the Northern Corridor, a place where 4 heads of state have come together and did exactly what was, I think, the bottom line of the discussion this morning, that we need to walk the talk. We needed to put action to what we said in terms of connecting our region, in terms of upskilling our people. And every 2 months, these heads of state have agreed to meet and push and check on the progress of these initiatives. So I think it's a very fantastic platform that we have today to make sure that what we are announcing today is not going to remain a report. This report is going to be put to action, and this is a commitment that I would like to make from this table. We look forward to working with every one of you, our partners in the Internet for All partnership, to actually beat this target, because let me tell you, mine was a much higher target.
Thank you, Minister. Our next speaker is Elaine Weidman Grunewald. She's the Vice President, Sustainability and Corporate Responsibility for Ericsson. Ericsson has been a long-standing partner of the forum and has been very involved in our Internet for All initiative as well. And I know Ericsson has also been a very good friend of Africa for many years. Elaine?
Great, thanks, Alex. So just on the theme of Internet for All, I think that many of us would agree that there's really no greater challenge to sustainable development than the digital divide. And we talk about figures sometimes in Ericsson. We see that it took 100 years to connect 1 billion people. It took about 25 years to bring 5 billion mobile subscriptions online. And we know that by the year 2021, 90% of the world's population will be within mobile coverage, within a radio signal. But that doesn't mean that they can afford it or that they'll be able to access all the benefits that the internet can bring. So I think initiatives like Internet for All are entirely relevant to look at how can we create the right policy and enabling framework in order to make the benefits of internet connectivity available for everyone. And if we look at just sub-Saharan Africa for a few minutes, we know already now we have 150 million smartphones on the continent today. That's in the year 2015. And we see that by 2021, we'll be up to about 800 million. My colleagues working in Africa tell me that the amount of data going through the networks is doubling in just a 9-month period. So the opportunities are enormous, and all the jobs that can bring, the economic benefits, the social benefits are amazing. But as has been pointed out, what we need now is a number of concrete implementation projects. And I would like to commend the minister for the work that Rwanda has done. Rwanda has really been a rising star when it comes to the digital connectivity and bridging the digital divide in Africa. And I think that many lessons can be learned from initiatives like Smart Rwanda that is also extending into what's called Smart Africa. So we need to put these initiatives together and look at how we can become operational and find the commercially sustainable business models that will make them sustainable over time. And I guess just the last comment would be, because something is smart doesn't mean it's sustainable. So when we talk about targets, I think we also need to look, how can we connect the targets of these initiatives to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals that are now put forward before us for the next 15 years. And that's something that's very dear to Ericsson, and we have been working on a number of studies and reports, one of which we just published recently on ICT and the Sustainable Development Goals.
Thank you, Elaine. We also never want to forget the youth. In fact, it's the youth that are driving and putting the fire underneath us to really move quickly. And we're really therefore proud to have Wanjuhi Njoroge also as a speaker. I should also add that Wanjuhi has participated in our Northern Corridor Internet for All planning meetings, but she's also been one of the driving forces between the Internet for All campaign that the Global Shapers have launched and literally has mobilized thousands of youth across Africa. Please.
Thank you, Alex. When you talk about Internet for All, it closes to my heart because I was born and brought up in a small, unconnected village at the foot of Mount Kenya. And had I not come to Nairobi in search of education, I would not be sitting here today, because the Internet is the reason as to why I'm seated here today. On the 7th of April, 50 global shapers from 34 hubs across 23 countries launched the online Internet for All campaign. And so far, we have reached 160 million impressions. We've told countless stories. And we've also been able to have a face-to-face meeting with several stakeholders. This was made possible because of the internet. Without the internet, we would not have been able to convene and also achieve this much. The Kenyan government, for instance, has set up or has set aside 30% procurement of all government tenders to the youth, women, and persons living with disabilities. But people in my village are not able to access this information because it is unconnected. So when we are talking about young people and connectivity, connecting them is providing them with opportunities to be, to create employment and to be better. So for me, as a closing remark, I would say that it is possible, it is doable if all stakeholders came together and we held hands and walked the journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally, our last speaker, and we're very pleased at the World Economic Forum that we really, truly represent a multi-stakeholder and multi-dimensional platform. And we've had the privilege that the Cyberspace Administration of China has been also one of the members of our steering committee as we have created the Internet for All report. And with that regards, I'm very pleased to introduce Madame Wang Xiujun, the Vice Minister from Cyberspace Administration of China.
尊敬的部长先生，尊敬的亚历山大黄先生，女士们、先生们，大家下午好。
Your Excellency Minister, dear Wang, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
非常感谢世界基金论坛和卢旺达发展署的盛情邀请，让我有机会呢，跟各位朋友相聚在美丽的这个基加利，共同见证互联网普惠报告的这个发布。首先呢，请允许我对这个世界经济论坛非洲峰会的这个顺利举行表示这个诚挚的祝贺。
I'd like to thank the World Economic Forum and Rwanda Development Board for kindly inviting me to join you all at the beautiful city of Kigali and witness the release of Internet for All report. First, please allow me to extend my sincerest congratulations on the successful convening of World Economic Forum on Africa.
大家都知道，互联网的问世与发展，整个是引领了社会的生产的新变革，也这个创造人类生活的新空间。
The inception and development of the Internet has led a new round of social and industrial revolution, created a new space in human's life.
有力的推动着社会发展的和进步，那么也为大众呢带来了更加普惠的更多的普惠，改善民生，也是个重要支撑，改变人民的生活的生产方式。
The Internet has greatly pushed forward social development and progress. The Internet has become a critical enabler for benefiting and improving people's livelihood and has remarkably transformed our production model and living style.
中国进入互联网22年，应该说取得了重大的成就。到目前为止呢，中国已经有这个7亿的互联网用户，400多万个网站。
More than 20 years has passed since China access to the Internet. We have scored tremendous achievements, and now we have nearly 700 million Internet users, over 4 million websites.
那么，中国上市的互联网企业已经300多家，每年的网络零售交易额超过30万亿人民币。
And more than 300 listed companies in the Internet sector. Annual online retail sales exceeded 30 trillion yuan.
到去年为止呢，到去年年底，有1.1亿人呢通过互联网获取在线教育，1.52亿网民呢使用网络医疗，近1亿人使用这个网络约车服务。
By the end of last year, 110 million people have acquired online education through the Internet. 152 million enjoy online healthcare, and nearly 100 million use online vehicle booking service.
这个互联网的发展呢，不仅带动了中国经济的发展，也成为中国网民获取服务的好帮手。
The Internet has become more than a powerful engine for economic growth, but a competent assistant for the general public in accessing service.
未来5年，中国要实施网络强国战略、大数据战略、互联网+行动计划。
In the next 5 years, China will vigorously implement the Internet Power Strategy, National Big Data Strategy, and Internet Plus Action Plan.
那么这样会促进这个通过互联网来促进这个网络和经济社会各方方面面的这个深度融合发展。我觉得这个机会呢，不仅是中国的机会，也包括非洲我们兄弟国家的大家共同的机会。
For those plans, it will to catalyze the fusion of the Internet and economic and social development. This is not only a great opportunity for China, but also a unique opportunity that countries around the world, including African countries, can benefit from.
作为非洲国家的亲密的伙伴，也作为这个互联网普惠项目的重要参与方，中国愿意支持世界经济论坛北部走廊这个互联网落地项目。
As a close partner and friend of African countries and an important participant of Internet for All program, China is willing to support World Economic Forum Northern Corridor Integration Project.
也愿意与非洲国家的朋友们共同分享互联网的发展带来的这个机遇和成果， 那么支持非洲国家利用互联网发展经济、改善民生。
It is also our wish to share with African countries the opportunities and achievements brought by a booming internet sector, support African countries in leveraging the internet in developing economy and improving people's livelihood.
中国政府鼓励中国的企业家到非洲来这个投资创业。那么我们真诚希望呢，在以下3个方面，那么与非洲各国那么进一步深化共识，来加强合作。
Chinese government will encourage Chinese internet entrepreneurs to invest in Africa and launch multidimensional all-round cooperation with African countries in internet development, management, and utilization. China sincerely hopes to deepen consensus and strengthen cooperation with African countries in the following 3 aspects.
第一个呢，就是共同推动那么重大信息基础设施的建设。我们鼓励中方的这个网络企业，那么积极支持和参与非洲国家的网络基础建设，与非洲国家一道努力，那么来努力填平数字鸿沟，努力缩小技术差距，为广大的非洲人民提供用得上、用得起、用得好的互联网信息服务。
First, promote major infrastructure building by encouraging Chinese companies to support and participate in internet infrastructure building in African countries. China would like to work with African countries in bridging digital divide so as to provide accessible, affordable, and quality internet information services to African people.
二是鼓励中国的这个网络界的这个中小企业呢，到非洲来，更多的了解非洲，来做这个资金投入、技术支持，在产业方面进行合作，特别是在互联网应用和通过互联网跟各个方面的融合服务方面，那么来加强合作，实现互利共赢。
Second, encourage Chinese companies, especially small and medium enterprises, to enhance understanding of Africa and increase capital input, technical support, and industry cooperation in African countries by creating enabling environment through concrete cooperation between private sectors. We may lead internet development in Africa and realize mutual benefits and win-win situation.
第三呢是加强人力资源这方面的开发和合作。那么中方将对非洲国家那么开展更多的互联网人才这个培训和项目的交流，那么帮助非洲这各个国家呢储备更多的技术和管理人才。
Third, enhance cooperation in human resources development. China will initiate more projects dedicated to internet talent training and exchanges in Africa. These projects aim at helping Africa stock up the pipeline for technical and managerial talents in order to enable more African people to acknowledge the world.
女士们、先生们，中国与非洲国家同属发展中国家，我们既有推动互联网普惠的共同诉求，也承担着以互联网求发展、谋福祉的共同责任。我相信，只要我们精诚团结、携手合作，我们一定能够抓住难得的历史机遇，增进共享，实现共赢，共同拥抱互联网为我们带来的美好的明天。谢谢大家。
Ladies and gentlemen, China and African countries are all developing countries. We share the common appeal of Internet for all and the common responsibility of seeking development and well-being in the Internet. I believe that as long as we join hands and work together, we will seize unprecedented historical opportunities to enhance sharing, realize win-win situation, and embrace a better future brought by the Internet. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Wang, and I know you need to leave for an appointment, so thank you for sharing your remarks. Okay, so we will open up. Thank you, Vice Minister. We will open up for any questions from the audience. Do any of our panelists want to add anything based on what has been stated?
I think there's a question there.
A question. I'm sorry. Please.
My name is Ethan Tashovi. I work with the New Times, Rwanda. I hope I wasn't late to get to know about the report, what it means, and specifically for Rwanda and the Northern Corridor Integration Project in regard to, as we move towards the fourth industrial revolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Ethan, if you came a bit late, we unveiled a report by the Internet for All, which is a group of like-minded partners working with the World Economic Forum to bring everyone online. We committed to focus as the first in-country project to the Northern Corridor of East Africa, Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, and South Sudan, to bring 25 million more people online by 2020. So this will happen through addressing the challenges that have been identified as access to infrastructure, affordability, skills and awareness, as well as appropriate content. So that's a nutshell, the report that we sent out. Now, as to how it applied to Rwanda, when I said that mine is a much higher ambition, I was not joking, but I think this is already a very ambitious target. When you look at the growth that this sector has been undergoing over the last few years, we are talking about doubling the growth of internet penetration. So the 25 million is not the difference between the number of people who will be online between now and 2020. Is the difference between the number of people who would have been there in 2020, assuming there was a steady growth, and the growth has been impressive. But we believe that by coming together, by joining hands like everyone has said here, by tackling systematically these issues, by bringing the best and brightest thinkers and strategists, and by bringing investors together, we can actually deliver double the growth that we were planning previously. But I said that in Rwanda, ours is more ambitious because we want internet for all by 2020 in Rwanda. So Alex and partners, we want to contribute more than 20% to that growth.
Very good. Yes.
Hi, I'm Mark Rice-Oxley from The Guardian. Ms. Weidman, Grunewald, I think you said that smartphone penetration was going to rise from 150 million currently to 800 million by 2021. Where did those numbers come from? And that presents as much of a challenge as an opportunity.
The figures come from a report that Ericsson publishes twice a year called the Ericsson Mobility Report. And in the most latest version of that report, we have a whole sub-report on sub-Saharan Africa. So we can make that available to you if you're interested in the full report. And yes, of course, it's an opportunity. I mean, the number of smartphone growth and smartphone penetration, I mean, I think as the minister said, there will be a lot of growth anyway. I mean, if you look at global standards, interoperability, there's many factors that have come together to create an enabling environment that has driven huge economies of scale. Combined with, when you get global standards, if you look at just handsets, the price of handsets have fallen so dramatically, the price of smartphones. So a lot of these things are happening anyway to improve accessibility, but that doesn't mean that everyone can afford it. So I think really one of the goals of this initiative is to see how countries like Rwanda have created an enabling environment, but then also look, how do we address affordability? How do we work in public-private partnership to make sure that the smartphone penetration becomes for everybody, that it's not an elite? And I mean, that is really, I think, the biggest challenge is to work on the affordability issue. We have another statistic in Ericsson that shows that in 2021, more than 90% of the world's population will be in mobile coverage. But just if you're in a radio signal doesn't mean you can overcome all the barriers to afford it. So we need to start on many, many different issues. We need to look at education, ICT skills building. I mean, there's so many factors at play. We can look at how you can use platforms like mobile money for financial and social inclusion, digital inclusion. I mean, there's many elements, many opportunities that are all part of the, you know, brilliant package of ICT, but it needs the right policy environment to support it.
Maybe I'll just add, because it's one of the statistics cited in the report, and I'll point out Michael Kendi in the audience, who was formerly the chief economist with Internet Society, but we have a statistic in Brazil where 87% of the people have access as well as affordability. It's within their budget, but only 58% are using it because the remaining people don't understand the internet, they don't know what it is, and they don't see a reason why. So the message of the report is that we got to hit all four, and we have to have, it's more than an access and infrastructure issue. And that's why we need other stakeholders involved, and that's one of the key approaches that we want to take in the Northern Corridor. Mm-hmm. I think we're out of time unless we have anything else. Okay, then I think we thank our panelists, and thank you very much for joining the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you.